Last week, Donald Trump announced that the G7 summit next year will take place at one of his properties, the Doral resort. However, he has changed course following criticism from members of his own party. So he's trying to sell this off as, oh, I had to change course because these Democrats, they wouldn't let it go. He doesn't care what the Democrats think. He's never cared what the Democrats think. But when there's a growing list of Republicans who are concerned and they find this to be problematic, that's when Trump is willing to change course. So he has lashed out, both in the form of tweets and in a press conference. I want to go to the clips first. Here's Donald Trump talking about the emoluments clause of our Constitution.
I was willing to do this for free, and it would have been the greatest G7 ever. And I would have said to my family, because they run my business now, I don't run my business. I actually put all the stuff in trusts. They run my, and I didn't have to do that, but under no obligation to do it. You know, I don't know if you know George Washington. He ran his business simultaneously while he was president. Many other presidents, there weren't too many really rich presidents, but there were a few. They ran their business. George Washington was actually considered a very, very rich man at the time. But they ran their businesses. George Washington, they say, had two desks. He had a presidential desk and a business desk. I don't think you people with this phony emoluments clause.
So he called the emoluments clause phony. It's literally in the Constitution. One thing I just want to note.
Constitution that George Washington signed.
One thing I want to note is he was not planning on hosting the event for free. In fact, it was clear, because he said it, they would host it at the Trump Doral at cost, which means whatever price Donald Trump wants to slap on it.
Yeah, and he would have gotten paid, even if he said, I'm not taking profits off of it, which no sane person would believe. He would get paid management fees on top anyway. He not only owns it, but he charges a management fee. So it's complicated how the ownership is divvied up, et cetera. But and then he says, I have a trust. I don't run it, my kids run it. And that's why I would have told them to not make a profit on that. Wait, I thought you said your kids run it. Then you just said you would tell them what to do. Oops. Okay, and if you're wondering what George Washington's business was, it was a hemp farm. And so if, dude, you could make pants out of it. Turns out you could, and George Washington partly was. But he was not dealing with other countries. He was selling stuff inside this country. So that would not have affected the emoluments clause at all. The emoluments clause is about how you can't get paid by other countries. The G7 countries are other countries. They're not Americans. That's the whole point. And
no one would have known that.
Yeah.
No one would have known that the G7 summit would include other countries.
And no one knew about George Washington businesses until I found out about it, okay? And it would have been the best G7 ever. He said, come on.
He did say that.
Come on.
It was amazing. By the way, can I just say one thing about,
I mean, if Obama was like, oh, I'm putting together a G7, it's gonna be the best G7 ever. Everybody would be like, what? Did Obama lose his mind overnight? Right? But we're used to this guy being a fool and we all laugh. The president's an idiot.
Well, speaking of him being a fool, like, I find it interesting that Donald Trump knows anything about George Washington or anything about history, because he's not a man of history. He doesn't care. He's not
to
interested.
say the least.
But for some reason, when it comes to wealth or presidents who were wealthy or had businesses, all of a sudden he's paying attention. I mean, he's so driven by money. He's so fascinated by money. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, no, look, he calls it the phony emoluments clause because, of course, he's never read the Constitution. He doesn't know what it is. And then I'm sure that when he was picking the Doral, all of his yes men are so afraid of saying no to anything he says. They're like, oh, picking your own property and violating the Constitution. Brilliant idea, Mr. Trump, brilliant idea. Now he's like, okay, who would like to defend it? And boom, everybody's got Mulvaney's the last one in the room. He's like, oh no, oh God damn it. Okay, so then they put together a meeting of Republicans in Camp David over the weekend.
Yes.
Trump calls in, the majority of the Republicans say, no, don't do it at the Doral. It's obviously unconstitutional and we have no way of defending it. And I think that that's the first time that Donald Trump ever really, I mean, could it be the only time that he's ever heard of the emoluments clause? Given that people have sued him over it and have, but it's still possible because because Fox News never talks about the emoluments clause. So he might not have ever heard of it. But if he did, he certainly didn't understand what it was. And so on that call might be the first time that anyone ever explained to him why what he's doing is unconstitutional. So he might be like, oh, God damn it, this phony clause. I swear to you, he doesn't understand why, as president, he's supposed to be serving others. He's supposed to be the representative of the people and fighting and representing you guys. He thinks, no, it's all about me. He just cannot wrap his mind around something not being on his own behalf. So he's thinking, well, I'm supposed to not get rich off of being president? This doesn't make any sense.
So even in his decision to no longer host the G7 summit at his property, it's still self-serving. And the reason why is because when he jumped on that call and spoke to those Republicans who were urging him, please don't do this is a bad idea, he was concerned about whether they're gonna support him in this impeachment inquiry. He needs them in the impeachment inquiry. So like at the end of the day, Trump is thinking about himself. If he wasn't facing this investigation, I guarantee you he would have moved forward.
Of course. Okay, look, guys, last thing. For people who say that Donald Trump has a strategy, oh, he's trying to distract from Ukraine, he's trying to distract, or he's gonna do this and that. If it was a strategy to do something as painfully stupid as violating the emoluments clause, why did he reverse it 2 days later? Well, how is that part of the strategy? No, it's because there is no strategy. He's an imbecile. He didn't know that he was doing something unconstitutional, or probably both, didn't care. Doesn't care about violating the constitutional law, never is cared. And so he thought, what, I'm not supposed to make money off of being president? And so when all the Republicans are like, no, you idiot, that's gonna put us in an untenable position and then we won't be able to support you in your impeachment. And then he goes, okay, fine, I won't do something unconstitutional. God damn it, when do I get to make money around here?
It's amazing. Well, I do want to show you one last clip because I know you're gonna love this one. Here's Donald Trump talking about the financial sustainability of the Doral resort.
I have a great business, I have the best properties. But between what I lose, and in all fairness, some properties, Doral's an example. Doral was setting records when I bought it, because I owned it for a period of time. Setting records. There was nothing like it, was making a fortune. And then what happened? I announced I'm gonna run for office, right? And all of a sudden, I say, we gotta build a wall, we gotta have borders, we gotta have this, we gotta have that. All of a sudden, some people didn't like it. They thought the rhetoric was too tough. And it went from doing great to doing fine. It does very nicely now. It's actually coming back, I understand, very strongly. But Doral was setting records. And I knew this would happen. I'm very good at real estate, very, very good. Much better than you even understand. When you see my financials, which I'll give at the right time, you'll say, man, he was much better than we even thought. This guy knows right here, Mnuchin, because he was in the private sector. He knows very much what I have. He would tell you, someday maybe he'll tell you.
Please release your financials. I really want to be impressed. Come on, Trump, don't you want to impress me?
That's right.
Show me your financials.
I'm sure they're very big. He sounds like a third grader I used to know. No, you wouldn't. A helicopter comes out of our house. You wouldn't believe it. That's, by the way, a true story. And my dad is the head of the CIA, and my uncle's the head of the mob. Okay, he looks just like that third grader as he does this with his eyes and making up things that are so obviously false.
Was it? I mean, the Trump Doral was in a financial mess. Like it had bed bug issue. There were all sorts of problems with it. The occupancy was low. Trump had to commit fraud allegedly and inflate the revenue and the occupancy of that resort in order to obtain loans.
I'm really great at real estate. That guy right there would know, the one I made Treasury Secretary, because he was in the private sector. Okay, he didn't go bankrupt 6 times by accident. He's terrible at real estate. So right now, there's only 2 things keeping Donald Trump afloat financially. One is he is pretty good. Look, we're fair. At constantly bragging, as you see there. I have the best properties, and so what that did was it created before his presidency, value in the name Trump. So he would get paid licensing fees. So he'd be like, oh, can I run the building? They'd be like, no, you cannot run the building, but we'll pay you money for your name, and we'll put Trump Tower or suites or whatever all across the world and in the country, but you can't own it because you have no credit, because you've been bankrupt 6 times, and you're not allowed to run it because you suck at running things. But we'll take your name because he's good at marketing. So I'm being fair to him in that sense. And then, so that's what he did with his. And the only other thing that he makes money off of, kind of, is the golf properties. And wait, how did he get money for the golf properties with all those bankruptcies? Because the Russians gave them the money. And I'm not saying that, Donald Trump Jr. said that. Eric Trump said that. And so his kids said the Russians gave us all our money for the golf properties because they really like golf. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.